Hey everyone, and now a word from Mr. T.
Cut out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
We can never forget our disclaimer. This is just satire. It is a WTF, a What the Fuck Wednesday. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I sure hope you are ready for what we're going to talk about. It is, folks, it matters. It's to the point. It's important. All of America, all the world should understand this. Everything that we talk about. If they did, they would be preppers. If they did, they'd be like, "Ooh, shit, what is going on here?" What the Fuck Wednesday? A friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, sent me a question and asked it to me honestly and said, "Who is worse? The person with the mental illness who feels like they need to mutilate themselves and cut their dicks off to make them feel better, or is the person who is worse the one who encourages it, supports it in all the people they can, and encourages other people to believe a lie, to hurt themselves, to mutilate their bodies," right? It would be like the parent telling the child, "Oh yes," after the child says, "Can I fly?" And the parent says, "Yeah, why don't you climb up on the top of the roof and jump off of it? You can fly." The child gets hurt. The child is now damaged. The child believed the parent, the authority figure, the person who supported this crazy notion that they could fly. Yeah, so WTF Wednesday, how about a Who's Worse Wednesday? We can play that game all day long too. Who's worse in that scenario? Who is worse, right? Nancy Pelosi or Hillary Clinton? Who is worse? Ilhan Omar or AOC? Who is worse? Bill or Hillary? You can do that all day long. But back to this question of who is worse? And the person with the mental illness or the person who supports self-destruction? And after I answered the question and we discussed it, I found myself asking some even deeper questions, right? Is it truly gender dysphoria, or is it pure self-hatred? Now remember, people on the left, all these leftist ding-dongs out here, guess what? They hate this country. We all know that. They deny the goodness of America. They deny the goodness of the Constitution. They deny the goodness of people because they're white. And so what they do is they attack others, right? These virtue signaling white liberal idiots. That's what they do. They hate themselves, and so they project onto others their feelings of inadequacy and hatred and self-loathing, etc. Now, the people who go out and become these trans types, they have a self-hatred which is this short of suicide. They've been conditioned to hate themselves, to hate their culture, their race, their parents, even their own gender. They hate their own identity. So they want to change their identity. They want to change their gender. They want to change, right? Get rid of their parents. And all their parents are beggars. They're like, "We'll support you with anything and we won't tell you the facts," right? Because if they're Democrats, they hate themselves too. And so this new generation of Democrats is taking their hatred of America even further. So if you look at the Democrats of the 60s, who did they hate? They hated authority. "Man, this war in Vietnam is stupid, man," right? The hippies, the freaking hippies. "Hey, you soldiers and Marines, you're baby killers, man," right? Those guys, right? That was how big their self-hatred was back then. It's pretty small. Then their children were born and they became socialists, and then their children are born, and guess what? They became anti-American communist types. And now the next generation, they hate themselves, period. They hate their country, they hate freedom, they hate liberty, they hate America, they hate the Constitution, they hate the flag, they hate themselves, they hate everything about everything. And that's where we're at. It has progressively gone straight to hell in a handbasket for these leftists. And if you don't join them, if you don't sing the song and the praise of these fruitcakes who are mutilating their own genders, mutilating their genitals, as well as mutilating the idea of genders, then they say you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're bad, you're evil, you're a Nazi, you're a white supremacist. Oh, by the way, Gavin Newsom in California wants to stop anyone from using hate-based name calling. Except we're not the ones running around calling people white supremacists and Nazis and xenophobes and transphobes and haterphobes and hate. Folks, the reason I'm bringing this up has everything to do with SHTF and why we're in this situation right now. The people in charge, trust me, the people in charge, the Bill and Nancy's, right? The Barack and Hillary's, the Chuck Schumer and the Bill Gateses, the Epstein types, and all of them, they know what they're doing. They are sick in their heads and they hate America, but they don't hate themselves. But they brought the country to a point, the whole world to a point where they've convinced them to destroy themselves so these people at the top can have their way. So they can fundamentally transform this country into their plaything, their toy, to enslave all of us. They need SHTF. They need shit to hit the fan. They need the economy to crash, the energy system down. They need everything. They need people fighting amongst themselves. They need people to hate their country. That's what they need. Who's worse, folks? They're worse. They're absolutely worse. From a psychological perspective, folks, we're dealing with people who hate themselves so much they're willing to almost kill themselves. And it's funny, or rather, we should say, it's interesting to note that the people killing the trans are the trans themselves and other LGBT self-hating types. That's correct. They're the ones killing each other, and they're the ones killing themselves. That's how close they are to suicide. They're homicidal, suicidal, psychopathic, sociopathic morons. And they fell for it. They fell for the great lie of communism. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Believe it, folks. Let's get into more stuff. Get your questions down below with the man, and we're going to have some fun. First, I want to bring this one back. It's been a little while because, well, I've been busy dealing with everything else. But let's touch on it just to remind everyone that it still exists. That's right. It's time to play Take a Wild Freaking Guess. In Nebraska, that's right, the Cornhusker state, Nebraska, the state that's very flat. Nebraska, a high school super athlete. He's a superstar, a super athlete, and he was at track. Track is running, folks. Track is going from where you're at a stop to real fast, right? And then you're done. You don't get hit in the head with a baseball or a bat. You don't get tackled by someone else who weighs twice your weight and crushing you. It's not a contact sport. It's running. Well, the dude who we are discussing, the high school young man, superstar, prime of his life, just starting, dies after collapsing. I love it. I love how the mainstream media and other media go, died unexpectedly. Since when does a teenager die expectedly? Of course it's unexpectedly. You just say star athlete dies, collapsed during track practice. And at practice, you don't go out 100% and burn all your juice. There, you stage your way up, right, for the race, the big track meet where you condition yourself and power up and everything. So you're not running your hardest at track practice, rather. So why did this high school student die? I wonder. Why did the student die, folks? You tell me. Take a wild freaking guess. Now, I did mention Governor Gavin Newsom. He wants people to snitch on each other. That's right. If someone is being a bully, we're back to that now. If anyone bullies someone else or is hateful and calls names, then we need to turn them in for hate speech. Governor Newsom is going off the fucking rails, communist in California. Well, just like in Washington State, where their Governor Inslee, is Cottage Farm here? How's her governor, Mr. Inslee, doing? Anyways, this guy signed a bill that the legislature passed. And it is not just controversial, folks. It's going to result in people dying. The bill allows, or rather the bill authorizes the government, that would be the state of Washington, can take minors from their parents if the parents refuse to let their children get transition surgery on their genitals. Since when do minors get to make decisions about something like that? They don't. They never have. It is elective surgery. Elective surgery is, one, something like this, very expensive. Two, it's not necessary. Three, it can wait till they're 18 and they can pay for it them damn selves. But here we go. The government is going to say, if you don't agree with your child and their desire to mutilate themselves, then we're going to take that kid from you. You bet. It's beyond controversial, folks. It is. So child groomers in Washington State, I suggest you get prepared to go to court. Now, worse than that, if I was a right-wing, freedom-loving, parental rights, right? That's what these fucking freaks think, is we're bad guys because we believe in a higher authority, because we know we're above government, because we believe as parents it is our right, our duty to raise our children, and that the government has no say in it, no say whatsoever, unless a child is being hurt by the parents. Denying a kid, a minor, a mental doofus, the elective surgery of cutting their genitals to pieces, that's not hurting a child. But how many parents are going to say, oh, you're here to take my kid? When does the shooting start in America? When does it start, folks? I'm not talking about going to a shopping mall and taking your left-wing lunatic policies out on others. I'm talking about, when do right-wing, right-thinking, intelligent humans say that's it? How far do you have to be backed into a corner before you bare your teeth and your claws and come right back out fighting? How far are you going to be pushed? Well, America is waking up. America is red pilling, folks. It is. It's choking on it, but it's taking it. Now, Budweiser pissed everyone off with this woke crap and got a lot of people's attention. Even President Trump, who is now, because of it, going against what his son, Don Trump Jr., was saying. He's like, nope, there's a problem here. Budweiser needs to be boycotted. Well, there's another brewery. And when I came to the Deep South, I'd never heard of this one. It's called Youngling. I thought, that's just a strange name. But their beer cans look Budweiser-ish. Very patriotic. Got an eagle on there, some stars and shit. Youngling, it even tastes like Budweiser, right? Not exactly, but it's a cheap beer, mass-produced beer. Anyways, Youngling Brewery has decided it's going to have a special can honoring very special people, except the people that Youngling Brewery is going to honor are not people who have cut their genitals off and are taking special drugs, hormone replacement therapy, HRT. No. This beer company is honoring American veterans. This is awesome. It's not woke. It's American, not woke. It's patriotic, not woke. Well, good for Youngling Brewery. Smart move. But for America, wake the hell up, right? Being woke doesn't mean you're intelligent. Being woke doesn't mean you're aware of everything. In fact, this friend I talked to that came up with the Wednesday, who's worse Wednesday idea, had this to say, right? He goes, well, you know, and this came up. Someone that they know knew someone else who has just gone through the surgery. That's right. Even down south, there's fruitcakes. Well, this person was friends with a Facebook friends and friends, so like 3 degrees separation. But the person went and looked and saw that idiot's Facebook page. And everyone was there. It was, congratulations, so awesome, you're beautiful. You know what it looked like? It looked like a fucking guy who grew long hair. That's exactly what this person looked like. There's nothing, in my opinion, was beautiful or cool or interesting. Had a big masculine jaw, a big masculine face with some long hair and a little bit of makeup on there. Big masculine shoulders, nice big thick Adam's apple growing there. And everyone's encouraging the person. They're like 75. That's so great. I imagine that to be this person's friend, you have to be one of these people who hates America, hates themselves, hates other people, and wants to encourage self-destruction. Well, I'm not for that. I am not for people killing themselves, hurting themselves, and I am certainly not against the idea of freedom and liberty for all. Hey, look, if you want to destroy yourself, you go right ahead. But don't try taking my fucking country down with you. Don't try taking down other people with you. Don't try converting kids to your way of thinking, you bunch of sick fucks. That's what we got, folks. That is SHTF. We're getting it on that very low level where we're at, street level. And then you have politicians above it, like Gavin Newsom, supporting the idea and saying, you can't hate that. Then you have someone like Governor Inslee saying, well, if you don't allow it with your children, we're going to come take them from you. And then you got Joe Biden and his administration creating paraphernalia, supporting pornography and shipping it to schools. That's right. The Attorney General, Merrick Butlick, whatever his name is, right? His son is one of these publishers that creates this LGBTQ pornographic crap to put in schools. Kids are sick of this. Kids are red pilling themselves and others going, we don't like this. It makes us feel uncomfortable to have that shit here. Why don't our feelings matter? We're the normal ones. Got a couple fruitcakes in here? Fine, get them out of here if they don't feel accepted. There needs to be a special place for these folks. It used to be the nut house until they got rid of the nut houses. I mean, am I way off? Am I way off on this? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I don't know. You know, and I'm going to finish up. I'm going to finish up with this. I'm not finished, but I'm going to continue, I'd rather. Because this is more local stuff. You have more power on the local and state level than you do on the federal level. And truly, it is the state level that you need to worry about the most, right? Because, hey, folks, the federal government isn't doing to Californians what Governor Newsom is doing. The federal government isn't doing in Washington state what the state government of Washington is doing. Governor Newsom in California, there is a proposal that he is going to likely get to sign. It's an $800 billion reparations proposal. And here's his statement. Here's his quote on it, folks. Following the task force's submission, he had a task force to look at reparations. Following the task force's submission of its final report this summer, I look forward to a continued partnership with the legislature to advance systemic changes that ensure an inclusive and equitable future for all Californians. Folks, that's all commie talk, and it's zero constitutional authority to do what he knows is in there. Now, to say there's a task force that has a final report, it's political. It is not scientific. It is agenda driven. It is not based on strong foundational principles of liberty and freedom and the people's rights. He looks forward to a continued partnership with the legislature. Yeah, they're commies just like he is. And when he used the word advance, he wants to advance systemic changes. Folks, that is code liberal talk. That is their code talk, systemic changes. They want to attack the rights of people. Inclusive future, in equitable future. What is exclusive? What is exclusive is the rights of people with rights, the people of the country, of the state. They are now being excluded from exercising their rights. They're being excluded from an equitable future. Equity, meaning fair. Fair. There is no fairness for them, right? Fair is exactly what the left says it is. That's not law. Equity is not law, folks. Equity is fairness. There is no place in the Constitution where they discuss equitable outcomes. Get ready, folks. These people are going hard charging at you, at me, at all of us. That's the point of this discussion. At the local level, they're charging harder than ever. At the state level, they're charging harder than ever. And folks, even on the federal level, yes, they are charging at the as hard as they can. Now, remember that promise that Chairman Representative James Comer and his oversight committee in the House of Representatives, they had their press conference, folks, and they brought up the Biden family crimes and corruption. Do you think that it's going to matter to a hill of beans? Well, here's what he has to say, right? Here's what they have to say. Quote, bank records show the Biden family, their associates, and their companies received over $10 million from foreign nationals. And when I read that headline, I said, is that it? That's it? That's the big enchilada? Tell me something I don't know. $10 million, that's nothing compared to what Hunter Biden's laptop brings up. Unbelievable. $10 million. Are we supposed to be surprised by that? I bet Biden is laughing up his frickin' sleeve, right? Now, James Comer identifies 9 different Bidens who are implicated in the corruption. Tell us something we don't already know about the Biden crime family. His brother, his son, his wife, Dr. Jill, all family members are tied in to this. So they all run their own little scams. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Where's the arrest? I remember that earlier in the week, he said, do not arrest Hunter Biden before Wednesday when we put this out there. Well, you have evidence. Where's the investigation? Where is the talk on impeachment? It's more hot air and bullshit. It really is. You know, oh, they arrested folks. The Department of Justice went out and arrested Representative Republican George Santos. A 13-count indictment, including wire fraud, money laundering, theft, and false statements. That sounds like a day before noon for Hunter Biden. Wire fraud, money laundering, theft, and false statements. Now, good. Hey, look, if George Santos is done this, if he's committed crimes, good, arrest his ass. Now, go arrest AOC for her fraud and lies and bullshit. And Mad Maxine Waters. And how about Ilhan Omar for her fraud and false statements? Right? Yeah, you bet. How about Pelosi? How about Clinton? How about Hunter Biden and all of his fraud and other crimes? Where is it? It is stunning to me. Absolutely stunning. When does it happen, folks? When does the violence start? I think it's going to have to. I think it has to at some point start. Because here we are. Here we are. These people are committing crimes in front of our faces. They're screwing us over. They're starting and participating in a World War III scheme to destroy America and draw us in there. It's going to happen. They're not giving up and going away. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You better have it together with your plan. These people are not going to go away. Now, I know in Texas, they're getting tired. They're getting tired, folks, of all the bullshit at the border. Especially, folks, with who knows how many millions of illegals have come across the country. In fact, a lot of people have noticed and have made a great point of pointing out that the people coming across the border are all military age and look to have a bit of a, I don't know how to word this right. They seem to have a purpose. They aren't a bunch of shiftless, right, lost, down and out people just struggling to get to America. They seem to be here with authority and purpose. Anyways, Texas is standing up, and their National Guard soldiers arrived at the border at a major site where a lot of illegal crossing takes place in Brownsville, Texas. They showed up, folks, with riot gear. Now, the question I have is, there were 10,000 of these people, right, that were their Texas National Guard, right? They're the border force. I have a couple of questions. The governor of Texas has authorized them to be there at the border. What authority do they have? What authority do they have? Do they have arrest authority, meaning if they see someone committing a crime or suspect somebody of committing a crime and they have evidence, can they arrest them? If somebody appears to be committing a crime, does this authorized government, because it is the government of Texas, does the Texas National Guard, are they authorized to shoot to kill? Are they taking their weapons to the border? Are they taking ammunition to the border? What are the rules of engagement with illegals crossing the border and invading our country in great numbers? Or are they going to stand there at the border and yell, stop? Because if they don't have arrest powers, and if they don't have loaded weapons with rules of engagement, then all they are is a watchdog on the end of a leash. They can't get to anybody and just barks. I want to know what authority they have. Does anyone know what authority they have? This is where we're at, folks. This is where we're at, right? It was incredible, folks. Absolutely incredible. Going back to the Bidens, right? James Comer, representative, right, of the committee, the big committee. He said, quote, "It's judgment day for the Biden administration." That was this morning. It busted, folks. I don't think this is the Bidens being busted and arrested. It's just another big smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of fancy talk. Until I see someone perp walked. Hell, they arrested George Santos. Sounds like the government actually has the ability to arrest criminals. Why hasn't it been done? Well, I guess we can all take a wild guess at that. And if you think something's going to change, I don't want anyone to be disappointed. I just want you to be honest with yourself. Let's do this. It is a What the Fuck Wednesday. It is a Who's Worse Wednesday. Who is worse? What is worse? Let's do this. Let's get to your questions. Get them into Ooman, and we'll get them on the screen. I'll make you famous. I want to put out some special thanks also to Uman for being here daily. Same with Jolene. I want to thank Jolene, the prepared mother. I want to thank Mr. Skylight for support. I want to thank Chin Music for support. I want to thank Cottage Farm for support. I want to thank Bonnie Blue for support. I want to thank Heidi for great support. I want to thank everybody for doing support and helping others. Orlando, name the person. Even in our international circle, we got Steve Conlon in England. We've got Vince in Belfast, Ireland. We've got people down under in Australia. Everywhere, people are waking up and they need help. They honestly do. And we are there, folks. We have the opportunity to provide the information they need to battle the misinformation coming from the media. These fruitcakes are not to be encouraged and applauded. That causes them to do even worse things to themselves. We need to stand up and tell them, no, you need help. You've got a problem, right? You don't tell a crazy person you can fly, so they go up and jump off a roof and kill themselves. Not brilliant, not smart, but liberals feel good about it. I supported that person who was crazy, and now look, they've completely mutilated their bodies, and they're going to hate themselves the rest of their lives even more. Unbelievable. Hey, Uman, who do we want to put up next? Who wants to start the show? And it is Charles Gentry coming in. He says, something to consider. Man, as in humans. And it kills the fruitcakes and the lefties to say and speak about humanity or humans and to refer to them as man. And the word man, when used to refer to the species, is actually gender neutral. That is a man. So man, the only critter on the planet that has to pay to live here and allows the loudest of the weak to lead. There you go, man. Is the only being on the planet. I think I call anything less than 5 pounds a critter. If you're over 5 pounds, you're an animal, or in our case, the only being. I think a being is something that has a self-awareness. We are the only self-aware entity on the planet that has to pay to live here. That's correct, folks. Nothing else pays. You might say a draft horse or a mule earns its keep, but then it's owned property, is it not? The workhorse, right? Dogs, police dogs or military dogs, they have to do their job, but trust me, if they didn't do their job, they would still get fed and still get clothed, or as much as a dog can be clothed or housed. Yeah, very interesting, is it not? We have to pay someone else. And the most manipulative, and you could say weak-minded, bullies, liars, cheats, and thieves, they put themselves in position, to be in charge, to be the authority figures. And then, of course, what do? Screw us over. Human and Hugh Woman. Yeah. I think there's just so much history to the word. Does anyone know who Gadarn is? Anyways, yeah. Hugh man and Hugh woman. This whole denial of what we are and the destruction of who we are is awful. I mean, not only are whites supposed to hate themselves, but they want blacks to hate blacks too. Did you know that? Oh, they do. They absolutely do. Because here's the evidence. They took Uncle Ben off of Uncle Ben's rice. Why would you do that if you want to promote the idea that blacks are great cooks? They have the ability to cook as well as anyone else. And how about Aunt Jemima? Took her off of the boxes and bottles. And the dude on the box of cream of wheat. Why did we need to do that? Shouldn't we celebrate people of color, for their successes. That's just food, folks. Don't you think bobblehead dolls, that promotes racism, because it shows how, well, black or white or whatever color someone is. Why isn't that as bad? Why isn't that as bad as having Aunt Jemima on a box? What about the little Indian girl that used to be on Land O'Lakes butter? Why did she have to be removed? They want natives to hate themselves? That's right. Get rid of the Chiefs, get rid of the Redskins, get rid of the Indians, get rid of the Braves. But what about those Vikings? Why do they get to keep that white mustached, Swedish-looking Viking as their mascot up in Minnesota? You would think Minnesota was actually over by Saudi Arabia if you look at who claims to be representing that state. But once again, these leftist morons, they hate themselves, they hate their race, they hate our country, folks. And so they defer and give all their authority to someone from another country that hates America. And then they feel better about themselves. It's another act of self-destruction, to destroy one's own life, to destroy one's own government, one's own economy, one's laws, one's court system, one's educational system. See how everything that Democrats do that is destroying everything falls in line with destruction. Everything the leftists touch, they destroy, they break, they ruin. The idea of free speech, they ruined it, and now they want to take it away. They want to destroy it. That's who these people are. They're not just sick in the head, folks. They're very destructive. You could say they're the adversaries of freedom and liberty. Are they not? Yeah, they are. There is another person who is the adversary, because the name translates into the word adversary or enemy. That's Satan, right? Could it be Satan? It is, folks. Get ready. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. These people are coming. All right, Mr. Uman, who do we want to put up next? It is Cyber Hana. She says, there is a group called Moms for Liberty, made up of conservative parents who want a say in their child's education. They are almost in all states and have managed to get over 200 of their members get voted onto school boards. Now, Moms for Justice are throwing a fit and saying all the same nonsense we hear all the time, trying to get them arrested and harassed. So we got Moms for Justice. And who was the other group in the first part of the message? Moms for Liberty. Isn't that interesting? Moms for Liberty, freedom, are being attacked by Moms for Justice. Now, the justice the left wing wants, folks, isn't truly justice. The justice, they use the word justice, but what they want is equitable outcome. They want equity. They want fairness. It should be Moms for Fairness. Well, sorry, life isn't fair. But yeah, it is great. Moms for Liberty, right? These groups like that, Blue Star Moms, other groups, with parents involved. When parents get involved, they get results. So Moms for Liberty, they're getting people put on school boards around the country. They're organizing. We have to be organized, but it's going to be a bigger fight than just that, folks. You know that when you stand up for yourself and you put a little table out there with a little tablecloth on it, and you put your stickers and your buttons and your pins and your pamphlets of whatever it is you're trying to sell others intellectually on freedom of speech, on protecting babies, on property rights, on parental rights, and the left doesn't like it, they'll come and destroy your shit, they'll violate your space, they'll steal your property, they'll turn the table over. They're awful. Absolutely awful. But I want to applaud these Moms for Liberty and Dads for Liberty and every other group out there that is standing up for rights. And we should support them. We should, if and whenever possible, join in any group that is making a positive impact and punching ignorance. Not people. Don't you punch people. That would be wrong. Right? But we want to beat up ignorance and dispose of ignorance. We want to kill ignorance. That's right. We want ignorance to be in the garbage can, dead. Right? I'm telling you, folks, it's going to come to violence at some point. At some point, the violence is going to be here, without a doubt. Get in good shape physically, folks. Not only do you need all those items, not only do you need them, but you need to understand the world around you. You need to have a plan to deal with those people. You need to be trained and prepared. I've been training a lot more, staying in as good a shape as possible. It's hard work, though. And you have to be serious about it. Just being a keyboard warrior isn't enough. But being a keyboard warrior, believe it or not, helps. You're texting, writing, calling, harassing in a nice way and in a lawful way. Politicians at the local, state, and federal level is making an impact. It's making a difference. That's why they're fighting so hard and coming out and attacking us. Right? We're over the target. They're trying to destroy us. It's discouraging, and I get it. But I also know that you and I have helped lots of people wake the hell up by giving them the internet address to videos that matter, telling them hit the thumbs up, hit that thumbs up button, telling them to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and then come back. You need to bookmark sites you like, or Google will lose them for you, or YouTube will unsubscribe you. Happens all the time. All right, what do we got next? Mr. Uman, who is stepping in? Charles Gentry says, we all know the definition of insanity. Do we all know what the first symptom of insanity would be? Well, the definition of insanity, if I were to say, is the act of insanity is to repetitively complete the same action again and again and expecting a different result. So he says the answer is, what is the first symptom, is not recognizing that you are the one defining the word. Just think about that. It's a bit of a word and mental play, right? You have to define the word of insanity. It would be insane to allow someone else to define it for you. In other words, you have to know the difference between right and wrong, good and bad, up and down. And if you allow someone else to define it for you, right, that's an act of insanity, to allow someone else to tell you what is good or bad, right or wrong. We all know when someone has been hurt by someone else. You know when you've been hurt by someone else or injured in some way, some form, some fashion, right? You've received an injury. I'm not talking about a sprained ankle or something, right? But you know. And if someone insults you, well, you're not really hurt, the sticks and stones. But on the political left, if you say something that upsets them, they consider that to be an injury, a personal attack, and one that, well, the response can be of a physical and real world nature. These people are becoming more violent. I think that it's high time that we had another violent murder by some leftists out there. It's been a few days, and I am suspicious that something big is going to happen. Now, I find it ironic in a lot of ways that America, in general, every time there's a mass shooting and the president says we're going to take your guns, people go out and buy more guns. People go out and buy more ammunition. I find that absolutely fascinating. Don't you? That we innately know that when government tries telling you what to do, that we are to reject it. Equally fascinating to me are the people that are willing to do whatever their political leadership says, and they do not question it. I question all political leadership, folks, of every party, or any party for that matter. and I weigh that against what I know to be true, right? I define my own words, and I understand and monitor my own moral compass. I don't need some political leader to tell me what is right or wrong, or that I need to take a knee or pay someone else money for something that someone else did to them. We've got some big trouble, folks. I hope you are in a position where you can defend yourself. And I hope you're in a position and in a state that has some sanity in its leadership. All right, let us move on. Thank you again, Mr. Charles, for your thoughts and putting things out there. Now, it is survival readiness. And he says, in 1955, the U.S. population was 161 million people. In 2023, it is 332 million people. In 1955, there were 559,000 patients in mental hospitals. In 2023, there's only 35,000. Those stats show what the real problem is. That's a big part of it. Now, essentially, folks, from 55 to 2023, right, what do we have there? We have over 50 years. We have just about, 60 years. Anyways, in that time, the population has doubled. So you would think that the number of mentally ill people would double equally. So instead of having 559,000 wackos, we should have 1,118,000 wackos. But survival readiness is saying there's only 35,000. In other words, it's come down to about, 3% of what it should be. Now, let's do it this way. Where are all of these whacked out people? Not only are there people who are mentally deranged, but we have other people who are mentally weak. You could call them mentally handicapped. And they need, in order to survive, they need to be on a series of psychotropic drugs, mind control drugs, SSRIs, antidepressants. Are those people crazy? Are those people mentally deranged? Do they need to be in mental hospitals? Well, I'm going to tell you what, if they were not on the medications, would they become violent? Would they become dangerous? We don't know, right? They're on those drugs, but we also know that a lot of people who are on those mind control drugs, they end up becoming suicidal. They end up hurting others, right? Because they're on the drugs, or because they get on the drugs and get off and their minds are fucked up. This country is full of these people. I believe that the number of really, truly whacked out people is way more than 1 million. In 1955, I think that people were probably not encouraged to be mental cases. Think about it. Today, you're encouraged. Wow, you're not feeling good? Go get some drugs, right? If you're mad, if you're upset, you should proclaim that you need mental help and go get some drugs. That's where we're at, folks. I don't think it's 1 million people. I think we're probably closer to 50 million people is my guess. 50 million people. Let's just throw that number out there. 50 million people that are whacked out of their minds, just fucking crazy, and they're barely getting by because they're taking a bunch of drugs, mind control drugs, antidepressants. It's frightening to think that there's that many people out there whacked out. I mean, look, if we've got 300 million people living in this country, let's go with 300 million. That's a lot of millions, right? Half of them are Democrats. That's 150 million. How many people did I say are whacked out? 50 million. Right? I didn't even cover all the Democrats in this country. But if you listen to Democrats, they are whacked out of their mind. They are nuts. They hate this country. They hate themselves. They hate everybody. They especially hate you. I think that there is probably a mental condition there, right? A disorder of types. Now, when I grew up, I was taught to love freedom and liberty and love America because it's your country, right? I was given all of the ideas that support the notion that you should be patriotic, that this country, one full of freedom and liberty, provides you with the opportunity to live the best life that you're willing to work for. What a great idea. Do we have that today? Or do we have a government doing all it can to impede anything good from ever happening for anybody? That's right. That's how I see it. Boy, I tell you, we've got trouble. And I hope that you are prepared. The people that you have around you, folks, they're whacked out of their minds. There's a lot of them whacked out of their minds. Not quite sure what's going on. All right. Let's do the last 10-minute roundup. Ooh, man, who do we want to put up next? We've got, drum roll, Who's Your Life 67. He says there is the two-tier justice system and it's time to level the field. It is. We brought that up with the arrest of Representative George Santos, Republican, knucklehead, moron, liar, and he got elected just like a Democrat gets elected, except they don't want him. And so they have arrested him and they're charging him with a number of crimes. But if your name is Ilhan Omar, or rather anyone who is a Democrat and even looks to have committed multiple crimes and other forms of fraud and deception, conduct unbecoming a public servant, how come they didn't get arrested? Where's Hunter's arrest, or AOC, or Mad Maxine? Ilhan Omar. Yeah, exactly. Where's their arrest? Why has Hunter not been scooped up, handcuffed, and then chained in a cell while waiting for his trial for multiple felonies? You know, like possession of illegal drugs with intent to sell, distribute, sleeping with prostitution or prostitutes. Isn't that illegal? I thought that was illegal. I don't know if that's a felony, but yeah. In fact, they're still lying and pretending like that laptop was false, phony, Russian misinformation, even though it has been verified to truly be his. Funny, isn't it? Funny how there's a two-tiered justice system. Thank you, Hoosier, very much for bringing that out. And because of that, understand, you and I are on the lower tier. There's the tier that the Democrats have for themselves and the tier for their leadership. And then for anybody else that opposes them, we're down here. So much as sneeze the wrong way, and they'll fucking fine your ass for it. All right, Mr. Uman, what do we want to do next? Who is next? Who are we going to put up on the board? Survival readiness, and he's got a statement for you and I. He says, we had 10,000 migrants crossing the border yesterday. When we stormed the beaches in Normandy, there were 195,000 soldiers involved. At this rate, in 3 weeks, that many will have crossed our border. And that must be just in the area you're in. The entire southern border of the United States, I'm sure, you know, are just going to look like an ant farm exploded. I saw footage, I saw pictures of people just crossing rivers and getting into America. Thank you, Joe Biden. But I want to know what Governor Abbott of Texas, what authority do his troops have? Do they have arresting authority? Do they have detaining authority? Do they have rules of engagement and they can shoot to kill if confronting a very violent, criminal, illegal alien? Would be nice to know. Survival Ready says, "Ooh man, a few years ago it was military-aged Chinese males crossing the border. Yesterday I saw it was a military-aged males from Sudan, Nigeria, and a few others. Seems like a fighting force being assembled." Now, if you were, he says, let's go right to his question. If our government won't close the asylum loopholes to stop the flood of migrants, why aren't the 20-plus red states sending their National Guard to support the efforts at the southern border? it could fall in line with the question I have is what authority do they have? What authority do they have? Do they have arresting authority? Do they have shoot to kill authority? If they don't have those, what's the point of sending your troops from your red states? I'm telling you, what's the point? Right? We're being invaded. Whether or not the invaders are armed does not make them less of a threat. They come up, they get a driver's license, they get to vote, they get to run people over. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. All right, let's move forward. H12 checks in. Heidi, and says, here's a statement. Well, isn't Mother's Day on Sunday? Yes, it is. I would say be careful and watchful on that day if you're out in public. Do you mean just me, Heidi, or all of us? I just stated earlier that I think it's high time that we had another mass shooting because, under Biden, it seems to be a weekly affair. But America's not screaming to have their guns confiscated. If you want, go turn your gun into the government. Go turn it into the police and say, here's my gun. I don't think we should have them anymore. And just turn it over. I'm sure the police would be more than happy to accept you to surrender. But not me. But I think Heidi has a point. Mother's Day, what a great holiday to massacre moms, huh? Women who claim to be women. Women who are proud to be women and be called the name, the title, the honor, mom. I'll be sending my mom a nice little Christmas, or rather Mother's Day gift, not a Christmas gift. Well, yeah, be careful in public, folks. Be armed legally, right? Be lawfully armed, but understand we've got big trouble. In some states, you can defend yourself. You can shoot the bad guy and kill the bad guy for doing very bad things, committing insane crimes. Other states, they'll arrest you for so much as lifting a finger to stop a criminal. That's the country we're in, folks. That's the bizarro world that surrounds us. Be careful. And also, as H12 says, watchful. Thank you very much for all your support. Okay, well, man, what are we at next? Do we have more? Are we done? It is Charles Gentry who says, trying to make a broken system work or work in a broken system is either the actions of sane people. Let's examine this. Trying to make a broken system work. Is that insane? Well, if the system is broken and trying to make it work, it's not going to produce what you want, right? So trying to make a broken system work, I don't know if it's insane, but certainly an act in futility. It's certainly very difficult, right? To take a broken, let's use, instead of a system, let's use the word machine. If you have a machine that's broken and you go to operate it, if it's an engine, the engine will not run. Or if it's a series of gears, they will not turn. Or if it's a computer program that's broken, it will not produce the results you want. I'm sure we've all typed into a search engine something we want, and we thought, how did that other thing just come up? How did it do that? Now, so I don't, making a broken system work, you need to fix it first, or it will not work. Now, instead of just trying to make a broken system work properly, to make the broken system support you, to unbreak it, right? And then you say, is it work in a broken system? If you want to work within a broken system, what's your agenda? That's just, if the system is broken, can you do good things with it? It just depends on how badly the system is broken. Getting the system or the machine to fix itself, or to put the right gears into the gearbox so they all turn. I think that's important to understand. Sane people, though, I think, are those who look at a system, a government system, for example, and they identify problems, and then they identify the source of the problem, and then they come up with a solution to fix things. Now, fixing a broken system, right? You see a problem, right? So then you identify its cause, and then you go to the system, the systematic approach to dealing with things, the government system, and you say, this is the course of action to fix the problem that was causing the trouble. The insane portion of that is to go through all of that and get to the governing body, whether elected or appointed, and after they tell you they're not going to fix it, expecting them to continue or to agree to you, right? I've dealt with a lot of government, and they only do what they have to. They will not go out of their way to fix problems. That's not what they're there for. They're there to earn a paycheck and get some retirement. That's all they care about, folks. But fixing the broken system, that is an act, a very difficult act, very heroic act, because now you can be attacked by your political opponents for trying to fix a broken system, or even trying to work within a broken system. Let's see, a fan, like a ceiling fan or a floor fan that blows air at you. If it's broken, right, the fan is hitting the blade and it's clanging, making all kinds of noise. What's the first thing we do? Right, you turn it off and you try and fix it. You don't work with it broken, and try and make it appealing. Anyways, there's so many different ways for me to think about it. We need to fix the American system. We really do. Voting is a way to fix it. Becoming active is a way to fix it by going to your children's school meetings, running for local political office, and showing up at local political meetings and telling them exactly what you think, without, of course, violating decorum and making people feel threatened the way truth often does. All right. Well, holy cow, we've gone well past 1 hour. Uman, do we have anything else, or did we come to the end of it and we kind of chopped into it all? I'm going to go with that. We chopped into it all. We're all done. I want to thank you again, folks. Tomorrow will be 0, dark 30. It's going to be dark, and there's going to be some dark things to discuss. They're brewing right now. I've been watching them. I want some more answers before I come back to you to discuss what the hell is going on and what we should do about it as preppers, patriots, and Americans. God bless America. Semper Fi. Chance favors the prepared mind.